Hi everyone and welcome to the video. This is a review video for the new codex for the Adepta Sororitas. Now, my knowledge on 40k in general isn't great, so I've called in the help of a friend of the channel, Mr. Dan Collister. Dan features on the Out the Fryng Pan podcast up there with Stu. He does a great job. It's a great podcast. If you haven't checked it out, check it out as soon as you can. I'll put a link in the description below. So a big thank you to Dan. So I will pass you over to Dan in a moment, but before we do, there is a chance to actually win this copy of the codex. If you haven't got your hands on it, or it's something that you were sort of on the fence about, here's a chance to win it for free. All you have to do is watch Dan's video and keep an eye out for this young lady. If you see this model pop up on screen, what I want you to do is comment below, like the video, and put a timestamp. By that I mean just put the minutes dot seconds that the model is in there. There'll be a leeway of 2 or 3 seconds either side of the exact time that I pop her up, but if you put that in the comments, you'll be entered into a draw, and I will draw that at the end of the weekend. So good luck guys, and I'll hand you over to Dan.
Hello, and thank you for joining me. As Steve will have explained, you're not hearing his usual dulcet tones, you are hearing me. My name's Dan, and Steve asked me to take a look at the codex for you. Now, I'm not going to say I'm a particularly competitive gamer. I don't particularly play Warhammer 40,000 in that style, but I do have a Adepta Sororitas army, and I was very excited about the codex coming out today. So I did sort of toddle along to my local Games Workshop to pick up my pre-order. And after giving the book a bit of a read through and comparing it to the last edition's codex, I thought I would do a rundown of what you can expect from the codex and from the Adepta Sororitas in their sort of new style. So without further ado, getting past the quite awesome cover art we've got here, let's take a bit of a deep dive through the book. We're not going to go too far into detail or go through too many of the rules in detail, because I'm sure that would get us into lots of trouble. But it will give you an idea and a flavour of what to expect from the book and some of the new units that contain within. So let's get started. So, first of all, we've got this particularly gruesome, grim, dark, gothic internal cover art, which is pretty cool. And then this sort of style with our sort of upper borders and lower borders carries on through a lot of the book. So it's pretty awesome. So the artwork in this book is absolutely phenomenal. Markedly better than the last one, which was pretty good in itself, to be honest with you. So apologies for a little bit of glare. I'm taking this video under illumination just because it's a bit overcast today, but it might get a little bit of shine off the pages, so I do apologise for that. So we have our usual contents and introduction, usual things you'd come to expect. Once again, a sort of repeat of that really awesome sort of cover art, the full art piece coming in there, as well as a little bit of sort of blurb. And then a breakdown of the Imperial Creed, the Cult of the Emperor, and the Adeptus Ministorum gets covered. Usual beautiful artwork. I mean, this is one of my favourite pieces. I try not to and catch it without the glare on it. This is stunning. This is the matriarchs, the founders of the Orders Militant. Lots and lots to be caught up on there. It's absolutely fantastic. So then we've got, this is sort of an older piece of artwork, sort of the Triumph of St. Catherine going on there, and some sort of further background. Won't go through too much of that. Got a little ahead of myself there. You've got the usual thing with the GW do, which gives you sort of breakdown of the hierarchy and the militant arms and how things slot into each other, which I always quite enjoy looking at. The bureaucrat in me enjoys it, so again, always worth a go. Morven Vahl, which is a new character they've introduced. She's basically the High Lord of Terror and the basically absolute leader of Abbess Sanctorum of the Adepta Sororitas. She is the head honcho. Gives a little bit of background on her, where she comes from, her inception in the role, and then how she's sort of taken to that role, and by the looks of things, quite surprised everyone. And then talk about the Wars of Faith, talking about how they've adapted to the new state of the Warhammer 40,000 galaxy, and basically what they're up to, how they prosecute their wars, and then notable sort of characters. I will say, the only thing is, I mean, as much as the artwork's nice, I prefer the old Demonifuge comic art style for Ephriel Stern. She's lost some of the sort of tragic glamour that she had in that comic, but it's still a great piece of artwork, and the model's pretty nice as well. And then an explanation of how it breaks down the Order's militant. I do really like this. The Retributors, very cool. And then we get an individual breakdown of the Orders themselves. So there's the Prime 6, which are covered in more depth. So you've got Order of the Martyred Lady, or Our Martyred Lady. You've got Valeris Heart. This is the order that I play personally. It was this piece of artwork just in the spine or sort of sidebar of the previous edition that got me to do this. The idea that she's got a broken sword, appears to be missing an arm, or what's left of it is on fire. As it turned out, they were pretty good in the game. Their sort of order rules were pretty solid, but I just love this sort of piety through pain aspect of them, and they're just hard as nails. I really loved. And you've got Bloody Rose, who are just mental, very, very ferocious. Ebon Chalice, which I really like. This piece of artwork, when they first teased the box, the army box, for when they released this model range the first time round, do love this. Ardent Shroud, and then the Sacred Rose, which again, this piece of artwork, I'll bring it further up to. That's cool as anything. I love that. That's grimdark 40k in a nutshell, that really. And then you've got your Orders Minoris. So the orders that have spun off from that obviously gives you some examples, like you'd have your, successor chapters of the main Space Marine chapters. And they're all pretty cool. These ones are particularly crazy. They're an offshoot of the Valeris Heart with the whole, purity and piety through pain. And they take all the skin off one of their hands and keep it that way, as you do. And then you've got your non-militant orders, your Hospitalia and Dialogus, the Orders Famulus, which are really interesting, and obviously they do have representation on the battlefield, which is pretty cool to cover them in more detail. Including this new character, Astrid. So she's covered in there. The banner one you might have seen teased recently. I think she's due to come out probably the next month or so. And then obviously how to sort of paint your various sisters in order to represent the major orders, and then some examples of some you can do yourself. And then you've got your usual sort of walk through the range and how they're painted, including the new models. The war suits I really like. Not to everyone's cup, taste, not everyone's cup of tea, but I do really like them. That's the new character. And then this one again divided a few people. I'm still not sure on her, but I do have some models left over from this as it goes, the Triumph, which I may convert something similar to that, because I'm still not sure on that model myself. The new Castigator, which is pretty awesome. I'm very keen on that. Anything more heavy bolters on it is always fine by me. And a little bit of a showcase going on. So then we come into the rules. So there are Crusade rules included in this codex. It's pretty awesome. I will fly through it. I won't go through too much of the bits and pieces because I'm not sure we're supposed to. But you've got your order rules for the different orders, the main 6, which are covered under these pages here, including sort of Warlord Traits and specific relics. And then, much like you'd have your the sort of Space Marine traits, you've got these convictions, which allow you to sort of tailor-make your own order, including this one I quite like, in the Footsteps of Saints, which enables you to take an offshoot of one of the 6 major orders and use all of their rules, but it's the only one you can select. So basically it just means you can almost make your carbon copy in your own colours, which is cool. Got new stratagems. Some of these are really good. Some of the more, I'd say, powerful ones have been toned down or removed entirely. I do quite like this one though, the Cleanse by Fire. I won't go too far through that, but basically you're going to be wanting to take that on Retributors with Heavy Flamers, let's put it that way. So there's quite a few in there. And then you've got your Blessings, which enables you to upgrade your characters at a points cost or a power value. And then you've got sort of general passive abilities, and then these miraculous abilities which you trade in miracle dice against, which is a really nice new mechanic. Obviously, I've only been looking at this book for an hour or two, so I've still got to get my head around all of it, but it's a really nice new idea. A bit more bookkeeping, I think, to begin with. Once you've got it under your belt, you'll be alright. You've got your Warlord Traits. Obviously, you've got the specific order traits as well as these ones, and then it details who the special characters, what they've got, as well as your Hymns of Battle, which are a 2-tier system. The sisters can pretty much take anything they like, and then the Mistoran priests, etc., have a sort of slightly more reduced number of options they can take, but they basically work very similarly to chaplains for the Space Marines. You've got a full plethora of relics. All your favourites are in there, really, and some really cool new bits and pieces as well. Further chapter approval, so you've got objectives, etc. That are specific to the sisters. And then the Crusade rules, which are, to be honest, one of the bits I'm more excited about. You've got new battle traits. And then this is particularly awesome. This is the Trials of the Living Saint. So it's your option to create a saint. So any character as part of your army, you designate them as this saint. And what you have to do is achieve these objectives. You put them on a trial, basically a trial path. And for each of these you accrue points. And for every 10 points then you would gain the reward. And you can go through what is 5 different trials and gain up to 5 different abilities, and they're really good as well, very thematically sort of put together, and the artwork's absolutely fantastic as well. I do really like that. And you've got further agendas, requisitions, and crusade specific relics, and then there's a really good army example. Dan's army there, these Order of the Bloody Rose, they're absolutely beautiful. Really big fan of those. I think some of these have been used in some of the promotional material for the army in the last couple of weeks and stuff. So then you've got your normal sort of data sheets going to be coming up. You've got your Sacred Rites, very similar to the ones that you've had previously. I generally use this one a lot, Divine Guidance, quite like to shoot things off the board, as goes with the Valeris Heart. And then when we start to go through, won't focus too much on these in particular. You'll be available through many sources, I'm sure, soon, or if you pick up your own copy of the Codex. A lot of units have been changed. The biggest one I'll give on this one is the Battle Sister Squads have gone up to 20, and in order to get the special and heavy weapon you have to be taking a minimum of 10 sisters in a unit, so no more sort of min-max 5 strong sisters units, especially Valeris Heart ones sitting next to a Image of Fire with the Stoic. Image Fires have been changed quite dramatically. They're no longer quite so much the must-take. And what's cool is the non-militant orders, as long as your army's battle-forged and contains a Canoness, they don't take a Force Org chart, because I did have a bit of concern that you'd possibly not have enough elites slots to take all of the many options you've got, especially considering most of these characters are pretty cheap. So they've worked hard on some of sort of the Munitorum units. They're quite interesting to look at. And then you've got your new Sacrosancts. They're pretty awesome. The weapons are pretty tidy. Paragon Warsuits, which are my favourite bit of what they've released. They are pretty tough, and they've got some pretty good stratagems to back them up. These combined with the new Abbess are pretty awesome, because you can do quite a lot of damage alongside a stratagem to charge in, effectively get Hammer of Wrath, and then she allows them to reroll all the hits and wounds, which with weapons that are damage 2, damage 3 is pretty awesome. A lot of the other units work similarly to as you'd expect them to. Some of them have been, I don't like using the word nerf, but they've been tinkered with in order to bring the sort of the power level down, to make them a bit fairer and more representative on the battlefield, which I do really like. And then there's other units that have definitely had a bit of a boost to make them more of an option. You're going to see less sort of cookie cutter armies, I think. Now, Retributors are still very solid. And there seems to be more flexibility, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure somebody will, in the weapons loadouts of the Mortifiers and the Penitent Engines, being able to sort of mix match the weapon and arm options. on the models. The Castigator's pretty awesome, I must say. It definitely, you know, I first thought, why would I bother taking one instead of an Exorcist? It definitely has its place. One of the biggest things that they've changed with the Exorcist is it's now -2 AP rather than the previous -4, which actually makes the refrain stratagem's been heavily tweaked. It's no longer quite the go-to. And then we sort of reach the end where we've got the Battle Sanctum. This is quite interesting, an item that you can drop, and it is obscuring. So you can bring this to the table every time you want to play, which is always good fun. And then you've got your weapons profiles. Big one on there. The Storm Bolter, wherever it's gone. Yeah, damage 2. Flat damage 2 on the standard ones that you can take on the Battle Sister units, which is pretty tidy. And you've got all your points values. Won't dwell too long on this side, and a glossary. And with that, you reach the end of the book with your traditional spooky, scary, and you've got your code obviously to use on the app. So I hope this was useful to you. A bit of a whistle-top tour. I appreciate I didn't go through the specific special rules of a lot of units or the points. I'm not sure what the rules on those are, but I'll definitely encourage you to pick up the Codex. I appreciate it is of a reasonable cost, but I'm sure there's an awful lot of places you'll be able to get it from, including Element Games, where you can get a decent discount off it. It's well worth a go, and I would recommend obviously anyone to seriously look at it about picking up a new army, because they are a beautiful model range and a cracking codex. So thank you for listening to me. Hopefully it was useful to somebody, and without further ado, I'll hand back to Steve.
Thank you, Dan. That was an awesome review of the new Codex. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. I know I did. Dan's a big fan of the Sororitas, and I'm looking forward to getting Dan, hopefully, fingers crossed, involved in some more stuff on the channel. We'll try and get him down to the studio, do some filming, which will be fantastic. Make sure you subscribe. Go and check out the Fryng Pan podcast, and good luck to everyone who enters. I hope you enjoy it, whoever wins it. I will announce the winner in the coming days. I'm only going to run this for about 48 hours, 2 days, something like that. And then I'm going to pick a winner and, yeah, get this in the post. So good luck, everyone. Make sure you check out the back catalogue, and I'll see you all soon. Take care. Keep washing your hands, by the way. We'll still need to keep doing that. See you later.